Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody? All right, I did my mic check. I'm on. The balls are moving. How's everybody today? How's my family? I hope everybody's well. I had a brilliant idea today. This is how the professor thinks. So I'm realizing with Social Security, and then I have all my living expenses, and then I have my credit cards and helping out the girls. And realizing I'm in trouble. I'm not. I don't get enough money in to do it. So I have to take like $1,000 out of the safe. So even though I got a lot of money in the safe, if I keep taking $1,000 out, I don't. So my idea was this. We've got a lot of money tied up in gold and silver and the baseball cards. But most of the gold and silver waiting for it to go up. So the struggle I have, which you guys will have also, is I don't want to have to sell the gold and silver back to the coin store at these low prices. I want to wait till the price goes up. So I need to keep so much money around so I don't have to. So I got money instead of the gold and silver to pay some things. And I had this brilliant idea, at least I think so, where let's say I'm $1,000 short. So my idea is to use my credit card. So in other words, here's my expenses, and then I still owe the credit card because I've been buying gold on the credit card. So I owe a payment on the credit card for the gold. And my thought was, well, wait a minute, just use the credit card. I don't really try to pay the credit card off at this point, later on down the road. I'm just trying to make the monthly payments. I am stalling for time for gold to go from 2,000 an ounce to 20,000 an ounce. Then I can take an ounce of gold, get 20 grand for it, and I'm set for a long time. And so waiting for the gold to go up, I'm just looking for a way to stall it. So instead of going into my safe and then emptying my safe and then going, fuck, I got no money, my plan is to put all my food and my gas on my credit card. That's like $300, $400, $500 a month that I've been paying with my cash and still making credit card payments and paying it down, but who cares? Right? We don't care that. The goal right now isn't to pay the credit card to zero. It's to keep cash until the gold goes up. That's the goal. That's the game. So thinking about it like that, this is, well, shit. All the food and all the gas and stuff like that. It's not a lot of gas, but food. All the food, just put on your credit card. So I'm going to make, let's say I'm going to make a $400 payment on my credit card, which is coming out of the safe. Well, if I use it on the food, so I don't use the cash for the food and the credit card, I credit. So instead of using the debit card for the food, and then I'm depleting my cash, then when I have, when I need money, I'm like, oh shit, I'm out. Here I've diverted $400, which is in my, which goes to the credit card. Then I pay the $400 to the credit card I'm going to pay anyway, and it sort of washes everything out. So yes, the balance won't go down, but neither will the cash in the safe go down. It buys me time. So using the credit card, and I got a lot of room on the credit card, let's say I spend $500, that doesn't come out of that. And then I can put it to, just a second. Sorry, I'll be right with you. It's Russia time, so it's 10:30, 11. Then she's sleeping, and it's nighttime here. And then when I'm sleeping, it's 1 o'clock in the mornings, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I get text in the morning. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, so Daria's feeling good, so that I'm happy. Okay, so back to my story. So I'm thinking, if I don't, if I just take my Social Security money, I'm going to be $1,000 light every month. So what do I do? So the first thing was take about 400 or 500 that you're using the cash with, put on the credit card, and then you're going to pay the credit card anyway. So it's your monthly expenses. Social Security covers the expenses. Then there's the credit card, and then helping the gals, and that comes out of the safe. But if I charge groceries, if I charge like $500, then I'm going to pay on the credit card anyway. Then I've actually saved $500 in the safe. So now I credit card instead of debit card. I go still pay the credit card, and the balance will go up a little bit, not a lot. $500 a month, and I'm going to pay probably $300. I can actually pay a little bit more because the 500, so if I put 500 for food and gas and added, let's say, 400 on a credit card payment, that's $900. Well, if I don't pay the 5, I'm still going to pay the 4. I've kept 500, which should pay the girls. So I might only have to go in the safe for 300 or 400. And it's just all mind blowing because we've got all the money in gold and silver. So I'm not a poor man, but I don't want to. I'm fighting the. It's sort of like I know. I don't know. Like last week, I knew Alabama was a great or whatever. Who was my free play last week? I don't even remember. What happened last week? My free play was my lock. It was Kansas City over Oakland. So I knew it was a good. So I wanted to make sure I had a bet on it, right? So even if the first game, if I tease it with a Saturday game and it loses, I'm going to make a bet on it because I know they're going to win. I know gold's going up, so I want to make sure I keep my ounces of gold and not sell them for the 2,000. So this is a total mind fuck because I got plenty of money, but it's all tied up and it's not in the bank. So it's one thing if you have your money in the bank and the money goes to zero or the bank won't let you have the money. Okay, you lost it. Well, I've already taken care of that. I've changed it into gold and silver, so I don't have that issue. But I don't want to sell it at $2,000 an ounce when I can sell it at $20,000 or $30,000 an ounce. dollars. Or even better yet, there won't be dollars and the gold will be its own money and it'll be worth a ton. So I just don't want to be in a position where I've had to trade in my gold. And then when it finally does go through the roof, I don't have any gold because I had to trade it in for this. That's kind of that's the moral of the story, to figure out a way to wait. So if we carry this to its fullest conclusion, let's say we need one more year for gold to go to 20,000. I have no doubt it's going way up because of the paper. So they're trying to inflate gold with paper, but you can't inflate physical gold. So they're trying to inflate it. They can't. And so what that leaves you is, how do I keep my money in the safe long enough to not have to take the gold to the coin store and get money to pay bills? I want to keep it over here and then keep the money in the safe as long as I possibly can. And that's really that's the fight that I'm working on. And that's the solution I came up with. I thought it was brilliant. I'm in the pool and you think better in the water. And I said, yeah, you know what? Instead of using the money for the groceries, just put it on the credit card. You'll pay, let's say I put $500 on the credit card. That's $500 that stays in the safe, because the same money I'm going to use for the credit card, I'm going to use for the credit card anyway. And okay, so the balance goes up $200. Who gives a shit? So in a whole year, it goes up $2,400. Who cares? That's all I got to pull out of the safe is $2,000. I'll be very happy if I have to pull out $300-400 a month as opposed to $1,000 a month. So that was my idea, and I hope that helps you guys, because you're in the same boat. You don't want to cash in your gold and silver. Now, if you're working, it's different. Because I'm not working now because of the stupid Harley, I get Social Security only. Where if I get a normal paycheck, this is not a conversation. So this is the conversation for that. Now I'm starting to understand when people sell their gold because they need to pay their bills when they're probably retired. So I assume what happens is you're retired with 400 grand, and then the stocks start going down, or you're in bonds, they're getting crushed. And so you're sitting there getting crushed, right? Well, I got gold. It'll never go up. It's 2,000 an ounce, so I'm going to trade it. I need the money. That's kind of actually, as being stoic, you always think of solutions. You think of this as a problem, and then you think of a solution to the problem, which is what I'm doing. So the solution is use the credit card for let's say groceries. Put a couple hundred on there, and then you still have the money. And then when you pay the credit card, you have that money you would have paid. It goes to the credit card. So the balance, let's say the balance is $2,000 and $500 for food and gas, maybe a miscellaneous thing. So that's $500 you didn't spend that you still have. And then you go pay the credit card. You have that $500 to basically pay the credit card of the 500 new purchases. So the credit card stays at 2,000, let's say, or maybe you pay 300. So the credit card goes to 2,200. Then you still haven't, you don't need that 300 or 400 out of the safe that you needed. So all of a sudden that money is freed up and used, and then that's 300 more in the safe that you had, which allows you time for the gold to go up. Because the last thing you want is to be out of gold and then it goes up, and silver too. So I was thinking I might buy a little bit more silver because I'm giving it away for Christmas. I mean, I could use another 20. I'll roll at 20 while it's at these prices. So if we look at gold, which I just did, It's through the fucking roof again. Gold's up to 2070. Now, this is inflated paper gold, not physical. The paper gold's at 2070. I can hear Luke now and Bobby screaming. Silver's at 2548. That's why I want to buy more silver. Silver's going to wait a little bit longer. There's more of it. They're still price fixing it. But what's going to happen is as people go to gold and it gets really expensive, they'll realize silver's also money. It's also precious. It also has a big value, and it should be 10 to 1 to gold. So when gold goes to 20,000, you can't afford it. But silver will still be at 1,000. You go, well, I can afford 1,000 for silver because my paper dollar is worthless. So therefore, I can still buy it. And that's really the best way I've learned to explain it was they can inflate gold. They can only inflate the dollar. So they're inflating the paper gold and the paper silver with derivatives, but that's not gold and silver, that's paper. Anyway. That is where we're at. And let's see. So I want to quickly do the NFL starting lineups on RotoWire, which gives us our lineups. Dallas, Seattle. So we ended up going, we liked Dallas and we liked the over and we liked Seattle. We liked 3 plays there because Seattle is such a good dog. And knowing Dallas had beaten 3 Z teams in a row, you had to figure a letdown. But after looking at Dallas as 15-1 as a home favorite the last 2 years, and Seattle's been struggling against Baltimore and a few other teams, I said, well, I can't trust Seattle. Maybe it's Geno Smith. He's not that good. So I get an 8.5. I take Dallas minus 2.5. And I got lucky. They go for 2 and they get it. Now I'm up 3. Now I go, well, worst case is a tie. And then we go to overtime, and all we got to do is kick a field goal to win. Then I get the late field goal, and they're up 6, and the game's over, and Micah Parsons takes over. The over does win. 47 goes to 41, and they scored 76 points. And the expected outcome I had was not – I forgot to write it down. It was like 30 to 20 or something. It wasn't – Seattle's been playing a lot of low-scoring games, and I figured, well, he ain't going to score a lot on Dallas. But I don't think Dallas is that good. They're beating Z teams. So that's really where I went to was I don't know what to do with this because I don't know what Seattle is. What is Seattle going to give me? And so, again, being in doubt of what do I get with them, I didn't do anything with them. I said, okay, Dallas, I think will win. Seattle, I'm not sure if they're going to score. Dallas, I'm sure is going to score because everybody's scoring a lot on Seattle. Baltimore put up 30. The Rams, whoever, Frisco last week, 31-13. So I'm going, okay, I'm going to get that kind of score. I feel I'll get in the 40s. But I thought Dallas minus 2.5. I got it under a field goal, which I told you. Now Seattle plays well. Now I'm all confused. I have them as an under team. Well, under teams don't score 35 points on 17 defenses. So now my data's fucked because you don't score 35 on a 17 defense. But part of being a 17 defense has been playing the Giants twice, Washington, Carolina, to get you to a 17 defense. So I even ran the numbers like, okay, let's look at Philly, Frisco, and a couple other good teams they played, if you can find any others in the league. And they were still probably a 17. Well, the Niners got 42 on them, and Philly got 27 on them. And there was one other team that was kind of good that maybe got 20. So, yeah, they were a little bit, but I didn't put Seattle in that category. Anyway, so we get the 23, we get the 41-35 win. We got to really think about Dallas being a 17 defense. That's what we take out of it. we're wrong on that part of it. We still won the bet. Well, we got the first half of the teaser one, but then as they stoically, we go, why did it the score why was the score higher? Because I could have locked the over on that game, but I didn't think Seattle would score that much. So that's where it comes from. It's like, what happened? And now you go there and you go, okay, Geno Smith's not bad, and Metcalf was good, and Lockett's good, and now okay, if they can score on Dallas, they're going to start scoring on these other teams. Although they played the Rams 17-16, and so it becomes, you have to understand their averages. 17 is pretty much an average. Detroit, like I did with Colorado and USC, it's how do they play the strong defenses, right? If LSU played Georgia, it's probably not going. Oh well, it probably would go over, but you'd be less likely to jump on it as if they played LSU played USC. That'd be a 200-point game. So that's what you try to break it down a little bit to the next level of they're a 8 team with a 17 defense, but that's playing the Giants twice, Washington twice, Carolina. So let's take them out of the equation because they're not even pro football teams. Let's go to the Frisco Philly games, and then but is Seattle at that level? Well, they're kind of somewhere in between. They're not Z teams, but they're not Philly and Frisco level. So, that's what we work on. And anyway, we got it right. So I'm pretty happy. So let's quickly look at what's coming up. Denver, Russell Wilson's fine. We got Jerry Jeudy and Mims questionable. And for Houston, Stroud is fine. Tank Dell and Noah Brown as receivers, and Dutch Schultz, the tight end, are all questionable. Happy Friday, Brandon. San Diego, we got everybody's healthy but Keenan Allen. So we got Herbert and Eckler. Keenan Allen's questionable. He tends to play, so I would imagine he's playing. New England, they're starting Zappy, and they're going with, I never heard these guys. Smith-Schuster I've heard of. Parker, and then this Douglas guy is questionable. I don't know if that matters for Zappy, but we are going with Zappy. Detroit, New Orleans. Detroit is healthy. Goff, Montgomery, and everybody. New Orleans, Carr and Kamara are healthy. Olave and Shaheed are questionable. Now, that if we're looking at teasing the dog, if we're looking at, did I say Houston? No, I didn't say Houston. Hey, Bobby Bo. Listen to the beginning of the show. I had a nice what do you call it? Nice brainstorm today. So I shared it with you. I can revisit it, but let me finish with the lineups. So if you're thinking of going over in this game, which I am, we don't have Olave and Shaheed. They're questionable. So let's make sure we got them. Bobby Bell completed 24 hours, but am now in the ER. Why are you in the ER? I like how you watch. Do you have the doctors watching us? Dr. Bell? Is that is Luke's father there? Maybe tell him the hospital so Luke's father can go and check out. Why are you in the ER? From not eating or too much? Because you drank some more? Who's playing in Denver? Nobody's playing in Denver. So New Orleans. So we got to keep our eye on Olave and Shaheed. Now it's Friday, so now we should know more tomorrow about them. God, I'm so screwed up with my days. Atlanta, Riddler's the quarterback. That's about all I need to say. The Jets have Peter Boyle from Young Frankenstein as quarterback. Breece Hall is questionable. So I don't know what you do here. You got two horrible quarterbacks. First 1 to 10 wins, I would imagine. Arizona and Pitt, Kyler Murray. M. Brown is questionable. And for Pitt, everybody's healthy. Pickett, Harris, Johnson, Pickens, Freiermuth. So, Pittsburgh should be good at home. Indy, Tennessee, Minshew, and Zach Moss is in for Taylor. And Tennessee's starting Will Levis. Henry's fine. Hopkins is fine. Burks is questionable. But the big ones are Henry and Hopkins. So that's a good sign for Tennessee. And Taylor's a big loss for Indy. Miami, Tagliavua is there. Mostert and Tyreek Hill are questionable against Thurston Howell. And they're all fine, but I don't think any of them are pros. So again, if you're thinking over in the game, you need Tyreek Hill. So this is where the injuries start to get you. Carolina, Tampa Bay, we got Steve Young, and everybody's healthy there. Tampa, we got Mayfield, who is now healthy. He was questionable with an ankle, but apparently not. Evans is good. Godwin is questionable, but I would think he's going to play. Cleveland and the Rams, we got Thompson, Robinson. Amari Cooper's questionable for Cleveland. Everybody's fine for the Rams. Frisco at Philly, Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, Samuel. Everybody's good for the Niners. Philly, AJ, now Swift and Swift and Smith are fine, but AJ Brown and Julio Jones are now questionable, and Goddard. I would think they play. It's the Niners. They don't play. We're jumping on the Niners. Maybe I did miss the Denver game. Yeah, well, I think I said they were fine, but I'll go back to that. KC and Green Bay, everybody's hell. Well, not everybody. This is where they're tricky. Mahomes, everybody's good for KC. Watson and Sky Moore, good luck. Travis Kelce is, though. Green Bay with Jordan Love, but A.J. Dillon's the running back instead of Jones. And then their receivers, Watson and Dobbs. And then there's Jaden Reed, which I think's Michigan State, is there. No, just a second. Daria going to sleep. I wrote Dulcie Danya yesterday, and she liked it. Put a heart on it. I said, well, that's one of the 10 Russian words I know. But it does come handy if you're dating a Russian to know a few Russian words. All right. Cincinnati and so Green Bay, they don't have Aaron Jones. That's a big loss. Cincy, Jacksonville, Browning again. T. Higgins is questionable. Chase is fine. Mixon's fine. Jacksonville, Lawrence, Etning. That's a big loss if Etning doesn't play, but Cincinnati can't do anything. They don't have Burrow. So let's go back. Did I miss the Houston game? Might have been the first one I talked about. Denver, Houston. So the game is at did I say Houston? Yeah. Who's playing in Denver? Nobody's playing. The game's in Houston. That's why I was like, I knew the game wasn't in Denver. So Denver, I said. So Russell Wilson, the quarterback's fine. The questionables are Jerry Jeudy and Mims, the Denver receivers, but they're questionable. Houston's got Stroud, but Tank Dell and Noah Brown are both questionable. His receivers. So then you get into who's better, Russell Wilson or C.J. Stroud, and we all would go with Russell Wilson. So Denver's playing at Houston from summer. is coming back. Summer. Who's Summer? Merry Christmas. Did you watch Thursday night? No, because I don't get that channel. I'm not going to waste my time getting Prime. So I was watching where Eagles there, and then I checked the score at the end. I got Dallas minus 2.5. I see it's high scoring. I'm going, fuck, I like the high score, but I went with Dallas. Then I see Dallas score a late touchdown. And they had to make the 2-point conversion, and I was going to get fucked because they were going to win by 1. They make it. Now I'm up 3. I'm laying 2.5. I feel pretty good. Then I get a late field goal, and I'm up 6. Now I feel they got to get a touchdown. Not against that. Micah Parsons does the sacking. So I watch the highlights on YouTube. I think 10 minutes. I don't know if I could watch it. I couldn't watch Herb Kirkstreet. I mean, it's like I can't listen to him. I can't listen to the Joel Klatt guy and Marvelous Harrison and Maserati Marvin. I mean, I don't know how anybody can listen to that with the volume. So the announcers are so bad. But yeah, I didn't watch it. I don't need to watch it. I watched the highlights, but I'm watching the box score and I get the understand. I know what's going on. So I'm looking at different things than most people are watching the game. No playing Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. No playing. I don't understand. So what are you saying? The stadium doesn't have any power? And therefore they can't play. Where are they going to play the game? In Denver? Well, I've already got my bet in, and that's the free play Denver. So I'll take the 9.5 at home. The bet's the bet. Why is there no energy in Houston? You guys got oil? All right. That's it. We'll keep an eye on that Sunday. Toyota's running a sale. All right. Some people you can talk to and they listen, and some people don't. But anyway, let us go to NCAA for today. Are applying at NRG Stadium. They are playing the Energy Stadium. They're playing the Energy Stadium, Houston, Texas, applying at NRG Stadium. I don't know what you're talking about, Brad. So you're saying the game's in Houston at a different stadium? All right. If anything, it hurts Houston because they're used to the stadium. Denver's mile high. They don't care. All right. Let's go. Liberty 10.5, 57.5. I think it's up from 56 against my New Mexico State team. Mexico State's a B team with the 20 defense. Liberty's a B team with the 22 defense. Liberty's very explosive. They're a high-scoring team. New Mexico State's more play defense. 57, I think, is pretty low total here. I think it gets higher. Oregon, Washington. I got Oregon at 9 and 65.5. We all know Oregon, the A team, but they're starting to run more and they're playing the strong defense. Their defense looks a lot stronger than Washington's, and they are. Washington's been struggling the last few weeks. Now the game's in Vegas, not in Oregon or Washington or Levi Stadium, where I thought they were playing it. So Oregon wants revenge. Oregon looks a lot better, but that doesn't mean anything. I just think that I think Oregon gets through. I just have a feeling Oregon's going to win because the way they've been playing. And I think this over-under is way too high at 66. I don't know where you're going to get in an Oregon game. Oregon might score 35, 40 points. Washington's not going to get near that. So that's what's kind of forcing the hand of taking Oregon. I've never thought about taking Washington in 15, which I don't know why. They're undefeated and they beat Oregon, but I don't feel the way they're playing. I just think that Oregon's going to run it down their throat and they're going to do what they did to Oregon and or what they did to Oregon State and I think they're just going to pound them, but I don't see 60 points. I don't think Washington's got the offense they had earlier in the year for some reason where they were lighting it up. They're not, Oregon State, they didn't light it up. Washington State, they didn't light it up. They're not playing the big score. So I think this total is way too high. I think it should be in the 50s, but I don't see. So if we tease it, it's 72. That's 40 to 35. I don't see that type of game. I see the game in the 30s. Maybe it hits 60, but it could also be 42 to 7 Oregon. They did kill Colorado. They did beat USC, and they did beat Utah. So they scored on Utah's defense. So that's how I look at it. All right. Texas, 14.5. Now, that's tonight's games. Liberty, New Mexico State, and Oregon, Washington. Well, if I had to just bet today's games, I think I'd go over Liberty and then either Oregon or the under in the game. New Mexico State beat Auburn 31 to 7. And then we saw what Auburn did to Alabama. So we're scratching our head going, okay, how did they not score on New Mexico State, which is alarming in this game, trying to bet the over in the game going, wait a minute, this team held Auburn to 7. Now Auburn's not that great of an offense, but they didn't look too bad against Alabama. And then Oregon, Washington, I just think the way Oregon's playing, I don't want to bet against them, but I don't want to bet them over. 35-40, I think. I think the game gets into the upper 50s, 60s. I don't know about all the way a 45 to 38 game. I don't think it'll be like that. I don't think you score a whole lot on Oregon now, even Washington. They're not. They scored 20 points on Washington State and 20 points on Oregon. They're not scoring 50 on teams that they should. So keep that in mind. Against this rugged defense, I don't see making 20 points by Washington is all. All right, now we get to tomorrow. Texas, 14.5, 54.5. That number really hasn't changed. So 13.5, 14.5. Oak State with the best player in college football, Ali Gordon, their running back. Guy's unbelievable. Oak State beat Kansas State, and Oklahoma. Don't forget that. Texas lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma is as good as Texas, so they can certainly beat Texas here. The game's at AT&T Field. Oak State's an over. They give up 27 a game. They score a lot. They score in the 30s. Texas is an 18, scores in the 30s, gives up only 17. Hence the difference of the grade. Oak State, their defense is not as good, and Texas is a very strong defense. This should be an interesting game. I'm not sure. Over 54 down to 48, I think is a pretty low over, because I think Texas can score on the key is Texas against the 27 defense. I think Texas puts up a lot of points. The question is, Oak State put up a lot on Kansas State and a lot on what's Kansas State? Kansas State is a where are they? Kansas State's a 19 defense, and they put up 37 on them. They put up 27 on Oklahoma and a lot on Kansas. Well, Kansas doesn't have the defense. So compared to Kansas State and Oklahoma, Oak State didn't have much of a problem. They threw 4 interceptions against UCF. That hurt us. But otherwise, they've been scoring on these strong teams, Oklahoma and Kansas State. So why won't they score on Texas? So that's when I dig into the second layer here. Bobby, I hope you're okay. You're in the ER, and I'm really surprised you don't have the doctor watching. I'm expecting the doctor to say, "Hey, professor, I need help with Bobby here." So I don't know. I hope you're okay in the ER, Bobby Bo. Although see how stoic Bobby is. He still comes in to say hi. I'm dying, but I can still say, "Hey." That's Bobby Bo. So I don't see why Oak State doesn't score, and I don't see how Texas won't. So, I don't love Texas minus 8.5. I don't think they're that strong, and I think Oak State can hang with them. I think Oak State can win the game. Bowman's not a great quarterback, but the running back's so good. And the problem is the defense, and I will not bet weak defensive teams. I prefer the defensive team, so I think Texas wins, but I think it's by maybe a field goal or a touchdown. This is not going to win by 20. So, if you're looking for the team, I think Oak State in 20. If you're looking for the play, I think you maybe go over or under. Hey, Greg and John. Well, from what I saw, just the highlights, this is what happened when you play 3 Z teams in a row. All of a sudden, their defense didn't show up. And anyway, I prefer betting on the strong defense because the defense can stop the offense, but the offense can't. But judging on these teams, Oak State lit up, which was Kansas State, and Oklahoma. I got no problem with them playing with Texas. Toledo, the MAC championship, 7.5, 43.5. Miami of Ohio quarterback Gabbard is out, broke a leg or an arm or whatever, so he's not even going to play. He's been out for a month. They're a strong defense. B team with a 16 defense. Toledo's the best team in the league. They're the A team. They give up 20, so it's probably a pretty decent defensive struggle. Over under at 44 is a low one. Toledo's pretty explosive, but I don't think they'll be explosive against Miami. It's just too good of a defense. I think this will be one of those, probably a field goal game. The worry is Miami of Ohio's quarterback, since he's the backup, because they got a good one at Toledo Finn. So hard to say. I think Toledo wins it, though. They're just the better team. Boise, 2.5, 59.5 against UNLV. And this game's in Vegas. UNLV is a very strong team. They beat Air Force. Boise's playing very strong. They're both over teams, both with 26 defenses. I definitely like this game over. Boise's starting quarterback's out, but the backups played a lot, so it's not like he's a freshman. Vegas, they beat Air Force. That's all I can say. So I'm looking for a pretty high-scoring game here. I do like Vegas as the dog at home. I think they can win it, and if not, it's going to be a close one. But, they live in Vegas. They don't need to see the naked girls and the crap tables and all that. But Boise, yeah, they live in, they're with potatoes. They need to see that stuff. SMU Tulane. Tulane 3.5, 47.5. This game is at Tulane, home field, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're going to have a conference championship game, you need a neutral field. SMU's an A team, but they lost Stone. The quarterback is out, broke a leg. Tulane's very strong. They get their quarterback back. They're just not scoring that much, but they have a very strong defense. So you got a 17 defense in SMU and an 18 in Tulane. And Tulane's a B team. So SMU probably scores 40 and Tulane probably scores 30, but SMU doesn't have their quarterback. Hard to say with the backup quarterback, what are you going to do? I looked at the stats last week when he got hurt, and the backups didn't do anything. So I don't know if they'll run more. They have a very tough defense. So hard to take SMU in this role at Tulane. I think Tulane wins the game. They're a good team, good quarterback, and then you got SMU's backup. So, but I think I think it'll be a defensive game. Georgia Porgia, 5.5, 55.5. Roll Georgia. Gotta like Georgia here after the matchup of Auburn's running back on Alabama. Georgia's got much better runners than Auburn does. I think they saw that, and they're going to run it down their throat. Everything was good, and then today I see our guy, Brock Bowers, is questionable with an undisclosed. Right? So I don't know what he did, but he's questionable. I assume everybody plays who can walk on Georgia. That's what they live for. Quarterback looks good. I don't think you can really blitz this quarterback because they'll just run it down your throat. And that's the beauty of a balanced offense. If they can run it down your throat, you can't. What are you going to do with them? Blitz them? Yeah, well, okay, I'll run it down your throat, and you can't blitz me. You can blitz the quarterback, but I'm giving it to these running backs, and they're power backs. They just run through you. They're always this offensive coordinator, Bobo, used to be a quarterback there. And they have such intricate patterns where there's all this crossing. And these guys are wide open. The guy goes back to throw, boom, and there's nobody around them. It's like, how did these guys get so open? But good quarterback play from Georgia, strong running, strong receivers, Brock Bowers, strong defense. I don't think whatchamacallit is Milrose is going to do a whole lot tomorrow. I think Georgia probably wins by 30. They'll do their 43-14 type of game. That's how I see it. And it's in Atlanta. And they want the record. And Alabama's really not that good this year. The LSU game, but that's against a weak defense. LSU, I'm sorry. What's their defense? Is like, a 50? Bobby, what's LSU's defense? Well, besides we know it sucks, but where's LSU? They're a 28 defense. Okay, Georgia is a 16. That's huge difference. That's a huge 10-point difference. That means you can get all you want on LSU, but you can't move on Georgia. I mean, it's right up there with Michigan's and Ohio State's and Iowa's and the 49ers and Philadelphia, Baltimore. This is right up there with it. See, if I was the team, okay, so let's say I'm like the new Lions GM. I go to Georgia and I grab their defensive coordinator and make him a big offer. He's my head coach, and we're going to run Georgia football with Georgia's defense. And then I go grab the USC offensive coordinator, and we're all set. We got the best. Well, that's what the Jets tried to do. Have Green Bay's offense with Aaron Rodgers and the Niner defense. He's got the Niner defense. So that's how I would resurrect any team. It's all about the coach. If you have a Georgia system, and nobody that maybe Baltimore does, but I don't think Philadelphia is not even running the Georgia system, which I'm shocked. I mean, I wouldn't even coach. I would just say, okay, guys, you guys know how to run your defense. Just run it, and all will be fine. Anyway, so Georgia's the free pick. Georgia, with Denver getting 9, is the free teaser. And I just don't see them losing. I don't see them laying down so Alabama can get in like they did a few years ago when they laid down so Alabama could get in. I remember working in Alabama, and I said to some guy, I said, they laid down. They're not going to lay down in the championship game, and they just crushed them. They can't, because there's too many one-loss teams. And too many you got Washington and Oregon, you got Michigan, you got Texas. If Georgia loses to Alabama, they might not get in, and they're the best team. And so, because if Oregon wins, Oregon's in, but maybe Washington's in, and Michigan, are they going to kill Iowa? But I mean, and then Texas, what if Texas beats Oak State? Then you got a lot more than 4 teams in a 14 playoff. And the amazing part is they don't change it, like saying, hey, you know what? Why don't we make it an 18? Because we got 8 good fucking teams that can all win it. And we would have huge demand. They're not thinking clearly. For a league that wants all this money, when the opportunity comes to make a lot of money, they don't take advantage of it. All right, App State and Troy. Troy 5.5, 53.5. App State's an over team, but beat James Madison, which is hard to do with the 27 defense. Troy's outstanding, very strong defense. A team, and the 17 defense is probably more like a 10. But App State, very hard to stop. Troy can move it. The game's in Troy, which is in Alabama. 5.5. I think Troy wins, but App State always shows up, and then I think it is over, even though with the defenses. I think this game, App State always figures out how to score, so I think they will score. Louisville and Florida State. Florida State 1.5, 46.5. Oh, finally they're realizing that the quarterback's out. 1.5, 46.5. What can I say? Louisville's an 18 with a 20 defense. Crushed Notre Dame, crushed Duke. Very strong defense. How they lost to Kentucky, I'm a little bit surprised. Florida State, an 18 with a great defense, 17 without a quarterback. How are you going to score without a quarterback? So, being the clever people we are and always taking advantage of what happens, we sit there and go, well, let's see. I don't know how Florida State's favored, so I like Louisville as the dog. And I don't see how this game gets any points. First team to 14 wins. I don't see scoring in this. Florida State's certainly not going to run it down their throat, and Louisville is not going to run it down Florida State's throat. It was a low-scoring game with Florida, but Florida doesn't have the defense Louisville does. The game's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Maybe Ric Flair will show up, and dancing and wooing. You'll hear all the woos on TV. You'll know Rick's there. Anyway, so I just don't see a lot of points in this game. Yeah, I mean, if this gets to 20, I'll be surprised. So in other words, I think 17-16, 19-17, close, low scoring, and I wouldn't be surprised if Louisville won, which will really fuck up the works because then Florida State's got one loss. Louisville, I don't know how they lost to Kentucky. It killed them. The loss to Kentucky cost them the playoff if they win this game. All right. So this has got to be an under. And then Michigan, Iowa. Michigan's down to 21.5 for some reason. 34.5. The over-under hasn't moved. Why would the line move from 22 to 23 to 21? Is it fixed? Is there something we don't know about? Don't know. Michigan, the A team with the 10 defense, and Iowa's the under team. Iowa scores like 15 points, gives up 12. However, they played one good team this year, Penn State, and they lost 31-0 at Penn State. They're a good home team. This game's in Indiana, in the Indy Dome, where the Colts play. I think Michigan's going to kill them. I think Michigan just keeps coming at you, and once they break them, then Iowa's forced to throw, and then you'll start seeing some pick sixes and turnovers. So I see Michigan winning this game pretty good. I also think this game goes over because I think it's too far under for a team like Michigan who scores. Now, since I like matching up against other teams, Ohio State had a 9 defense last week. Michigan put up 30 on them. Iowa's defense is a 12. It's not even as good as Ohio State's. I hardly think Iowa's holding them under 30, which means if I tease the over at 34, it's 28. All I got to do is get over 28. Michigan is going to get over 28 because they got over 28 on Ohio State. And this is a bigger game. Win this, we're in the playoff. They lose, I don't know what they're going to do. Probably still get in, but I don't know that's that automatic. So they're going to go and they're going to lay, 21. I got to lay 15, which is less than 17, which is amazing. I don't know why anybody thinks Iowa can stay with them because they can't. They have a defense, but if you look at it, it's Nebraska, it's Rutgers, it's Maryland, it's Illinois, it's Wisconsin, teams without offenses. So, yeah, they're holding it down, Iowa State. So they're not playing Washington, Oregon, and USC or Colorado here, right? If they played USC, they would not have a 12 defense. They would have a 25 defense. I guarantee you USC would put up 35 points on them. They're just not playing a good quarterback, and they get a pretty good quarterback with Michigan. Like I said, once they get rolling and they get up 14-0 or 14-3, 17-3, once it gets out of hand, Iowa has to throw. They can't just keep running. They're going to lose. They're not comfortable throwing. Their backup is out there. The starter from Michigan's injured. Half the team's injured. And I think we'll see them for the fakes they are. They're not this. They might have a strong defense, but they have no offense. So that's what keeps me from just locking the over in this because Iowa won't score, which then leads me to Michigan. And it leads me to them piling it on because that's what they do. I figure them for at least 30 because that's what they did at Ohio State. And I figure Iowa for nothing as that's what they did with Penn State. So I'm thinking maybe 35-38-7. Iowa gets some lucky punt return or something. Michigan will have a couple of picks, maybe a pick six. they're going to come after this quarterback, and there's no Maserati Marv. Jesus, I don't know how anybody listens to that idiot. So I just think Michigan wins by 30 and gets the over because it's only 28. What the fuck can it be 28? What are you guys, crazy? Yeah, Iowa State, I get the 34, or Wisconsin, but not in this, not against Michigan or Ohio. Look at Penn State, 31-0. They had no problem. The game was at Penn State, but they got 31-0, and you're going to see more than that because this is a playoff game for Michigan. So they're going to be a little bit emotional, and when you get it in this type of game, they just keep going, right? It's like, we don't have enough. We can't lose. And they score and they score and they score. So they're going to put up over 35. And Iowa won't score. So I kind of really like Michigan and really like the over, which is so ironic because I always like the under in the Iowa games. Not this one. Here's where we've got Vegas by the balls. They don't know how to total this game. And I do. And that's how I beat them is I know what it should be. And when they fuck up like this, I mean, what are they kidding? What do they think it's going to be 16-3? I mean, Michigan, they're not going to stop Michigan. If anybody's going to stop them, it would have been Ohio State, and they couldn't stop them. Okay, so that's your college. I want to tell you about a scam I got today. I get a phone call. I'm in the car I had to go to the bank, and then I went swimming. So I get a call in the car from Consumers Energy. But it's a strange number. It's not an 800 number. It's like one of these computer scammer numbers. And he goes, well, we didn't get your bill. We're going to turn your service off in a half hour if you don't pay us. I'm thinking, well, I can't. I'm driving now. I can't really check my bank balance if I paid it, or I can't go into my Consumers Energy and see. But I know I automatically pay. So I get an email that says you owe $30, and I go in and I set it up and I go, okay, pay it. When's it due? Okay, pay the day before. Here you go. Here's the $30, and it's set. So I never miss a payment because as soon as I get the email, I pay it. So I'm thinking, I'm like, and they asked for my address, and I said, okay, go fuck yourself. You're not scamming me. And then I'm driving, so I get to the club and I check. Yes, I paid. The payment was due yesterday. I paid it Thursday, or I paid it Wednesday, the 29th. So I paid it. It says balance due 0. So I call them up and I ask her. She says, "No, we're Consumers Energy. We're going to call you with an 800 number, and we're not going to call you that your service is that." We're gonna mail you something, and it's gonna be at least 2 weeks after. We're gonna say you owe, and we'll probably have a courtesy call, but it's gonna come from an 800 or an 866 number. It's never gonna be, wait a minute for this guy, and that was it. So I told her, well, here's the number. I want you to go arrest this guy. He's making you guys look bad. And so it's a lot like that. If you ever get that FedEx text where we have a package waiting for you, but we don't know, just delete it and block it. And if you get the email where there's an invoice, but they have that thing on the bottom, they want you to click to see the invoice, the Trojan, you're fucked with that. So anything that you don't order, you get an email or a text like, oh, we have this box. I didn't order anything. Why would I get a box? And it would probably come to your door, not on the phone. So please be careful. Those are all scams. The Russians and the Chinese are nasty little boys. I assume the Russians are doing it. They're the smartest people. So they're all scams. This Consumer Energy was a scam. She said, no, we didn't call you. No, you don't owe anything. Why would we shut your power? And we wouldn't do it. It was a $20 bill. She said, we wouldn't shut your power off for $20 anyway. But it would be 2 weeks after, and we would try to get a plan with you, and we wouldn't just call you and say, oh, we're shutting it off in a half hour. So those are keys. If you get calls like that, first of all, like your major utilities, if it ain't an 800 number, just hang out. You know, if they say, oh, we're your energy, we're Duke Energy or whatever, just hang up. Just tell them to fuck off and hang up. They're not real people. And they're just scammers, basically. Anytime you hear the phone click, you're waiting in line to get scammed, right? You get the thing, hello, and it's busy behind for about 10 seconds, then it clicks in, somebody answers it. Just hang up. It's all bullshit. So Brandon, I still don't know. No playing Energy Stadium in Houston. They are playing the Energy Stadium Houston. Applying, okay, I don't understand it, but as long as the game's in Houston, I bet Denver. I don't care. All right, you're vampiring us again, Gregor John. Who's the best college quarterback, Penix? Are you telling us or asking us? He's not, but again, what does that have to do with anything? So, best quarterback is Cam Rising from Utah. But he's hurt. Next one's probably Bo Nix, maybe Caleb, or Hartman at Notre Dame, I like. So, anyway, don't take me off topic. So, let's look at the pro lines. As long as we're there, it's 4:30. Okay. So your free play, your free teasers, Georgia, even against Alabama. They should run it down their throats with who the hell do I have it with? Denver getting 9.5 from Houston. The better team is the underdog, and we really love that. Okay, we got San Diego 5.5, 40.5 against New England. We got to check the injuries, which we did first, and just go to that one page, and it gives it. I go to covers because I'm not sure which is the most accurate. If you maybe go to ESPN, who knows? Basically, if it's a game time injury, the guy's not going to, even if he does play, he's not going to do well. So we'll see. They're all injured. I mean, it's football. Everybody's injured. So don't get conned into believing, oh, he's going to play at game time like he's going to do anything. And how long is he going to? He's going to play 5 plays and then be out again. The Lions 4.5, 46.5 to New Orleans. A couple of Olave and another receiver are questionable. So if they go, I think this goes over. And again, I don't understand Detroit being a road favorite. I would probably like New Orleans. This is the last game that Detroit can win this year. They're going to lose at Chicago. They're going to lose both Minnesota games. Well, we'll see who the quarterback is. But even Dobbs can beat them. And then they got Dallas. There's like 6 games, and they're not going to win any. It's going to be because they're the best team in the world. Yeah, okay. Sure they are. Atlanta, 1.5, 33.5 to the Jets. Jets. Riddler against Boyle. All right, first team to 10 will win. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to take Atlanta. They're going to try to run it. They're not going to run it on the Jets. The Jets you can't take as the dog because it's Boyle. What are you going to score? They're going to get past midfield? Now, if Aaron Rodgers decides to play, yeah, then it's a lock on the Jets. But I don't know, but he's going to try. I don't think he plays this game, but I think he wants to get there before it gets too late in the season and they're mathematically eliminated. Because I think if he plays, they'll win the rest of their games. Pittsburgh 5.5, 41.5. Really hasn't moved. I like Pitt here as a home team. Arizona, they got Kyler Murray, and that's kind of about it. And they got a 27 defense. Pittsburgh's got a 19. I just don't think Pittsburgh and TJ Watt are going to let Kyler Murray run all over the place. They got such a strong defense, and their offense with Pickett's getting better. So I think Pittsburgh's like 7-4. They're in a must-win game. I see them beating Arizona. The Colts 1.5, 42.5 to Tennessee. Tennessee's pretty healthy. Henry and the receiver and Levis and then Minshew, but Jonathan Taylor's out. So you're going to bet Indy is a road favorite without Jonathan Taylor. Good luck there. Tennessee with the strong defense. Indy, the 24 defense. So Tennessee, I think, is a pretty live dog there. This is a real tough week because the teams you could play are injured. Miami 9.5, 49.5. Washington, take Tagovailoa and Howell, but the key in the game now is Mozart and Tyreek Hill are questionable. How the hell am I going to bet Miami without those two guys? How do I bet the over without those two guys? So I need those two to play so I can either bet Miami or the over. If they don't play, I don't know how I can take Washington. And they just lost to the Giants. They got killed. So I don't know how you can play them. It just seems crazy. So probably not going to the play here is Miami, but I need Tyreek Hill, right? I don't know if I need Moser, but I need Tyreek Hill. Denver, Houston 3.5, 47.5. But what can I say? Free pick Denver plus the 9.5 is a joke. Houston, a 21 defense. Excuse me. Denver's a 22 defense. Close game. Denver should win. They're hot, and they're the better team, and 9.5 points. They're not losing by 9.5 points here. Over under, I haven't even looked at. I'm so enthralled by getting Denver 9.5. I don't even care about the total. Tampa Bay 5.5, 36.5. Carolina's a Z team. They suck. They could play in the Big Ten or the Pac-10 and not win a game. I would say the SEC, but I think they could beat Vanderbilt. So they're just a terrible team with a 27 defense. Young's terrible. Mayfield's not that much better, but they got a good defense. So the better defense, the better quarterback, and the Z team. So I think Tampa, it's like the Pitt game. I think Tampa, all they got to do is win. I think they win. 49ers, 2.5, 47.5 over the Phillies. The Phillies got injuries, as we've said, to the running back and the receivers, but they're questionable injuries. They're not out or doubtful. I'm sure they'll play in this game. Backs against the wall to the 49ers. They have to win this game because they are 2 games down from out of the number 1 seed. Now we're looking at the number 1 seed, and you're looking at 10-1 Philly and 8-3 the Niners. They go 8-4, and they're 3 games behind. They'll never be the 1 seed. So if they want to be the 1 seed and get that bye, which they do, everybody does, look for the Niners to play a strong game. 2.5. I don't know. Again, it goes down to the injuries, but I still think this game is over after watching the Philly-Buffalo game. It'll be hard for the Niners to stop Hurts the whole game, especially if his guys play. And there's no way that the Eagles are going to stop the Niners. They couldn't stop Buffalo. They're not stopping the Niners. So at the end of the day, and if the Niners are up, they're going to keep going. I think the Niners win like 30-27. I think they win in a tie. I'll put in the scores later. Oh, let me put that score in. 30-27. The Rams, 3.5, 40.5, up from 39.5. Interesting. It's funny how the line moves because some guy is injured and you think he's 100% and you bet on it. You gotta be kidding. Cleveland, it's either Thompson Robinson or Flacco. Now, Thompson Robinson is injured, but not terribly. Against Stafford, who's looking good. His receivers are good. Aaron Donald. Does Aaron Donald, which is a big thing. Cleveland, their guy is a little bit, Myles Garrett, a little bit banged up at the shoulder. If he plays, is he any good? Does he play? They need the game. Both are under teams. Cleveland with the 19 defense with the Jim Schwartz, and the Rams with the 21 defense. So overall, I think this is probably a low-scoring game. That's why I'm surprised it jumps from 39-40. Who's betting this game over? How can you – what – okay, you got to justify that pick. How could you justify betting the game over? On what? Is Myles Garrett out? Then I could maybe justify it. But if that's the case, then LA should be a 4.5-point favorite because if Myles Garrett is out, they're going to score all over the place. So I think you go with Stafford. They need the game. The Rams need the game. They both need it. I think at this point with Myles Garrett and Thomas Robinson, we're not sure. Amari Cooper, we got to wait till probably tomorrow or Sunday morning and really get a better feel for it. KC and the Packers. KC 642.5. I really like Green Bay here. KC's still going for the 1 seed. They're behind Baltimore by a game. They got Denver breathing down their necks now, only 2 games out, and you still got a ways to go. I just think they put too much pressure. I don't buy that Green Bay that love all of a sudden learn how to quarterback. He's no Mahomes by a mile. So I like Kansas City. I think Kansas City even against anybody, Green Bay, they have a good game, but that's it. And then Cincinnati Jack 8.5, 38.5. Now you still have Etienne, the running back from Clemson. He's still banged up. He's questionable. Lawrence sucks. Browning is pathetic. I think you take Jacksonville because what's Browning going to give you? I mean, he's not going to give you much. And Jacksonville's been winning. They're a good team this year. Not a good team, but they got a good record. They just have the weakest division in the world. So you got to grin and bear it. But I think Jacksonville wins. So teams like Pitt over Arizona and Tampa Bay over Carolina. We don't love the team, but they're playing the Z team, and all they got to do is win. You would think they would win. So let's bet against the defense. Tampa with the 21 defense, Carolina at 27. Okay. Pitt with the 19 defense, Arizona with the 27, which is what makes them Z teams, is their terrible defense. And that's really what you're looking at. You need a method to figure out how to pick the game. You can't just, I like the colors or a little bit of, I like Mahomes, I'm going to bet him, goes into it. Joe Burrow, I do that. If Joe Burrow's a dog, I bet Joe Burrow. But that's kind of how I look at it. Some of the game, Miami, I like over, but I gotta wait. I don't have my team, so I don't know what am I supposed to do. Straight Talk, over 50 million U.S. households can get free or discounted wireless service. I don't know about free. Anyway. So that's the pro and college. So again, we got two games tonight. We got Liberty and New Mexico State, which should be a very good game. And Oregon, Washington. I look for Oregon to win the game. I'm sure Washington will make a game out of it, but I think Oregon gets revenge and wins and goes to the playoff. And I'm not sure Washington doesn't go to the playoff. They certainly deserve it. But if they beat them, Washington, if they can beat Oregon twice, they could win. They could win the whole fucking thing because this Oregon team is every bit as good as Georgia, and it's really the Georgia defensive coordinator, although he's an idiot coach because he uses analytics instead of what he should be looking at. But that's where I'm at with him. So good games tonight. Good games tomorrow. Again, I got 2 locks going. The free plays are Georgia and Denver. Very strong plays. Georgia, and I'm getting it from the Alabama game. I watched Auburn run through Alabama, and I'm going, well, Georgia runs 20 times better than Auburn does. So if Auburn can run through Georgia, through Alabama, we all know how good Georgia's going to run through it. But I don't see them stopping this Georgia offense. Alabama does not have that 10 defense, right? Alabama's defense is an 18, but I question it. Again, they played a high school team. They play, some very weak teams, and even Mississippi State and some of these, Georgia had to play Tennessee. They had to play Missouri. So let's take the Tennessee game. Tennessee gives Alabama all they want, and Georgia beats them 38-10. They get Missouri, who's very, very strong, 30-21. I mean, it's not even that. It's like Georgia, when they want to, just scores on you and then shuts you down. When they want to shut you down, they shut you down. And they just obviously know how to win. I'll be shocked if they lose. It could happen, Alabama. Off you go. But that's football. So you're always looking and growing into, why do I play this team or that team, right? So I'm always trying to give explanation and guide and leadership to what are we looking at and how do we predict what's going to happen. It's just not, if you really think about it, it's not an easy thing. And yet I do it so well, which is amazing to me. When I really go, I'm predicting the future, and I do it about 75% of the time. But if you know what you're looking for, it makes it a lot easier. Anyway, that's kind of today. Again, let's look at gold. It's so much fun when it's going up. $20.71, up $31. So silver, $25.46. I'll probably go buy some silver tomorrow, and then that's it. See, that's the hard part. But I'll use the credit card for it. And I don't care if I run my credit card up a little bit. So anyway, I did not listen to Mark McGuire at all today. I didn't really have time. I got up, went to the bank, was all bothered by having to take money as much as I did to pay rent when I'm getting Social Security to really pay rent. Thanksgiving and helping the girls a little bit more. So anyway, that's what's going on. We're coming into the bowl season. So I did a special for $200. You get all the games till the end of the year. All this week's championship games, the all the bowls, and the college playoff, and all the pros, and all the way through the Super Bowl. So you get every game for only $200, which is a steal, versus paying $100 a week for the pros. I do a bowl special anyway, usually $100 for the bowls, but for another 100 you get all the pros, and you can see I've been nailing both. Really, pros I've been nailing for a while. College was a slow start. I had one guy buy from me, and he's, well, you're not picking that well. And I go, well, you can't look at me for 1 week early in the season and make that response. Wait for now, and now buy the month from me, and then you'll be cashing in. See, these people don't really understand what it is I do or how I do it, but it's incomplete in the beginning of the year. I mean, there's some teams we know from this, like teams from this year that keep their quarterback. Maybe Alabama, Georgia's going to keep theirs, Ohio State. It's easy to get the read on it. It's the New Mexico State or Oregon State or whatever. They're the ones that you need to see a few weeks against good competition. So you might be mistaken by them. You might be taking this year, look at them this year, thinking that's how they're going to be next year, and they're not. Anyway, so keep that in mind. You're trying to think that. So I told the guys, if you want to play me, you play me for, more than once. You got to play me a bunch. That's why I post the history. Now I think I'm up. Early in the year, it was difficult because the teams I would look at New Mexico State, I have them against UMass. We lock them. I know they're going to kill them. They lose the game with the turnovers. They go beat Auburn. It's like, Jesus Christ. You lose to Massachusetts and you beat Auburn. I mean, come on. So that's where it was at. I knew I was right, but that's why you play the game. You don't bet your whole bankroll on one game. So now as we're winning, we increase the bankroll. We increase the percentage of play. So if you notice, my picks now are like 17 units. They started at 9 or 11, which is maybe $100. And then now the 17s are like $300. And so you keep building and you keep betting, and all your point is increase the bankroll. And now you got all the bowls, and then you got the NFL, and then the playoffs. And we're going to get these games like here, the Niners must win. So if we look at this, well, Seattle, Dallas both had to win. Dallas won. But Seattle played very strong. Somebody's going to lose, but they both needed it. So let's go down that. Let's have some fun. Indy, Tennessee, both teams need it. San Diego, New England. New England's out of it. San Diego must win. So they're probably another good, all they got to do is win scenario. Detroit, New Orleans. Detroit really doesn't need it. They're not going for the 1 seed. They're got a 2 or 3 game lead. So their back isn't against a wall. New Orleans is. New Orleans is tied with Atlanta. They have to win. Atlanta against the Jets. Atlanta has to win. But they're both so bad at 5 and 7, I don't know. And then the Jets, this is like they must win. But if they're starting Boyle, I guess they gave up. I don't know. I mean, that's ridiculous. Arizona, Pitt must win. They're 7 and 4, 2 games behind Baltimore and tied with Cleveland, so they must win. That's what I like. You're playing Arizona, the Z team, with a terrible defense. We're at home, we're playing well, and we need to win the game, and we have to win. So that's boom, boom, boom. They should win. Can we trust Pickett? Kyler Murray might get hot. The defense should control them, but that's what you're looking at is trying to understand that. Miami, Washington. Miami's comfortably in the lead there. Washington's out. They're 4 and 8. So the only way you can really bet this game is over is that both defenses kind of suck. And we know Tug. So Tug will have a big day because this is a weak defense. So he'll put up 40 points. Your over-under is 49, goes 43. But Washington should score because Miami doesn't have a defense either. Denver and Houston, both teams need it. Denver's now 2 games back of KC. They're 6-5 now, on their way to 10-5. They're on their way to 11-6. They've already played KC twice and beat them once. So that Houston needs it, but I don't know. It's not the same. CJ Stroud really. Carolina, Tampa. Carolina's only 1-1. They're out of it. Tampa needs it. So they need the game. They're going to play better and stronger. And again, it's even against the Z team. So there you go. Cleveland, LA, both teams need it. Cleveland's fighting Pittsburgh. LA's fighting Seattle. LA got a little bit of pep because Seattle lost yesterday. And the game's in LA. So, again, both teams need the game. It'll probably be close. Depending on the quarterback of Cleveland. And if that's why Myles Garrett will probably play, even though he's injured. It's like, no, this is we need it as a playoff game. The game of the day is Philly and Frisco. Philly does not need the game at all. They have no reason to play. The Niners must win or they're 3 games behind for the 1 seed. So that's the only reason Philly has is to knock Philly basically out, right? Because they'll be 3 games back and they head-to-head beat them. So that's Philly's incentive, but it's not the same as Frisco trying to get the 1 seed in a must-win situation. And when you have the better defense, you win. Look at the 66 and 65 seasons. 66 and 67. Championship game, Green Bay at Dallas. 67, the Ice Bowl, Dallas at Green Bay. Who had the better defense? Both years, Green Bay. That's what Green Bay did. They had this great defense. The Packers were like, just like the 85 Bears. They had a great defense, and they ran the ball down your throat. The quarterback was okay. Bart Starr was okay. He wasn't great, but he was okay. And they had balance, so they could throw the ball, and they ran the power sweep. But their defense, you had what? Willie Davis, and then you had I can't think of they had Nitschke. The left linebacker was right from Penn State. Anyway, and then you had 3 Hall of Famers in the secondary. Herb Adderley, Willie Wood, and one other guy. So you had 6 Hall of Famers on their defense. Willie Davis, Nitschke, and the other linebacker, and the three out of the 4 in the secondary are Hall of Famers. Herb Adderley, he'd get all these, he'd pick all the plays and get touchdowns. He was a halfback at Michigan State. But anyway, he played to the strength. They ran the ball and then rested their defense, and the defense would win all the games for him. So that's why I'm always liking the defense. Had I been really alive back then, I mean, I was like 2 years old. Had I really been at this level now, we'd have cleaned up on the under every week on Vince Lombardi. What a great under. Run the ball, and we're going to play defense. The over team there was the Baltimore Colts with Johnny Unitas. But it was just a beautiful under team. So that's what I always look for is the Packer teams. Which I really can't find. The Steelers are probably as close as you can get. Strong defense, strong running. Maybe Baltimore a little. Actually, Kansas City now is very similar to them, but they don't have the running attack where Kansas City's got this really shut-down defense. They got Mahomes and Kelsey, but it's their defense. So that's why defenses win, not offenses. Dan Marino, Dan Fouts didn't win shit because they didn't have the defense. which is critical. Good defense will win for you. Good offense. What if the quarterback throws 3 interceptions? Joe Namath in '68 threw. There was a joke. They were playing like Denver, and Denver sucked. And one of the guys in the locker room goes to Joe. He says, "We're wearing green today. Throw it to the green team," because he throws so many interceptions. He threw a lot of interceptions. So that's what you do. Yeah, it would have been nice betting on Joe Namath, but I got to bet on Joe Montana. Anyway, that's really what you're always looking for: the star, the Mahomes, the Burrow, the defense, the good coach. From what worked from the 1960s on till this year, it's the same formula. That's why I scream and roll my eyes at these 4th downs and all this fake punting. It's like, what are you fucking doing? This isn't football. I know what football is, and what you're doing is not football. So anyway, keep that in mind now as we get into the nitty gritty. Who needs it for the 1 seed? Who needs it to win the division? That's what you're looking for. That's now, put that in your formulas and smoke them. How do you put that into the formula? That's my point. It's all art at this point. We've got the science of the team. We can see, they're a 20 defense and a over team, and the quarterback does this and the running backs do that. But there's that intangible of, I needed to win the division. I needed to get the 1 seed and all that stuff. So that's really the change. Anyway, so we'll watch. Games will be on probably 7 o'clock. Oregon. That's probably on CBS. Let's see. What channel is Oregon on? And more importantly, what time is Oregon on? Yeah, I need to go back to college for that one. Liberty is on CBS Sports. They're not even putting it on a normal channel. Who has CBS Sports? That's on at 7. And 8 o'clock, Oregon, Washington on ABC. So at least, we got to listen to Herb Kirkstreet. Oh, my God. Big noon, Oklahoma State, Texas. 3 o'clock, Boise, Vegas. 4 o'clock, SMU, Tulane. 4 o'clock, Georgia, Alabama. 4 o'clock, App State, Troy. And then 8 o'clock is Louisville, Florida State on ABC, and Michigan, Iowa on Fox, Big Fox. I'll be watching the Michigan, Iowa, and flipping to the Louisville, Florida State. Louisville, Florida State, 13-10. Michigan, Iowa, 38-3. And that's the bottom line, folks. So anyway, that's what we got. What else? So beware of these scams. It's the holidays. Again, be very careful. And when you're buying gold and silver, we're just waiting for the price to go up. Not will the price go up, it's when will the price go up. So we don't want to trade it in at 2,000 an ounce when it's going to be 20. And that's my battle, because I kind of forget that it's money. And therefore, I'm like, I got this much in the safe, and I'm starting to get stressed over it. And then I'm realizing, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I do have all this gold and silver. That is worth a lot. So that's like, I kind of go to the girls, just be patient. I can't trade them in now. They're worth so much. So it's kind of like, that's what's going on with them. So be careful with that. But yes, you don't want to trade. You're better off just using your paper money, your worthless crap now, and then go into get your gold and silver while you can, because you won't be able to afford the gold. The silver you can still get, but the problem is your psychological is 25 an ounce. What are you going to do when it's 200 an ounce? How much silver are you going to buy then? So anyway, that's what we're waiting for, and that's why I don't want to miss it by having to start turning in gold now because I need the money. So I think that's a very smart idea, using the credit card for not a lot, just some saving me from spending all the cash on food and gas, and using it and then still owing on the credit card. It's not like I won't owe on the credit card. So once I get that and I pay, and then, because then that goes on the credit card, and then I basically just pay that and I break even on the credit card. But somehow I save $400 or $500 because I didn't use the debit card. It's on the credit card. I pay $400 or $500 on the credit card. It's a wash, and I find $500 extra dollars. So sometimes I scare myself with these because I was getting stressed, going, "Shit, I'm gonna be fucked if I got to keep taking a lot of money out of the safe. I want to take it out for gold and silver, and even then I don't. It doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, I just spent 2,000 an ounce of gold, and then I realized, but I didn't spend anything. I just traded my money for gold. In the long run, I'm way ahead, but not in the short run. So that's really what you do is you're just thinking of that. And even then I go, oh, I just spent 2,000 and I'm, oh shit, I don't have the money. And that's where you got to, understand you're buying it to wait. I guess it's like a stock. You buy Microsoft at 100 and you got to wait for it to go up to 110. It's not just an easy thing. They won't buy gold. I gave up. I told you they wouldn't because you can't explain it to them. Hey, Eric. The free pick is Georgia over Alabama and Denver over Houston. That's your free teaser. Georgia is gonna light them up. They hate Alabama, and I don't see how Milrose is going to pick Georgia apart. He'll take the snap, he'll fade back, and two Georgia guys will meet him 5 yards in the backfield like they did to Tennessee last year. But go Dogs, go! You've got to bet defense. Defense wins for you. That's why I like Oregon, and the defense wins for you. And in Michigan-Iowa's case, Michigan's got a better defense than Iowa. But they're not going to stop. Michigan's just going to roll and roll. Well, Bobby Bo, get out of the emergency room. I hope you're feeling better. You haven't explained why you're in the ER, so tomorrow, tell us. Yeah, Georgia, right? Georgia against Alabama, Denver, the pros Sunday. You can get Russell Wilson at 9.5 points against Houston. Yeah, all day. That's like getting Mahomes at 9.5 points. And I don't think we'll ever see that in our lifetimes. But yeah, you gotta bet it. Anyway, 2 locks going tomorrow. Sunday, I don't think I have a lock. I'm working on it. This is a very confusing Sunday for me. I'm really going through all my tricks to try to pick the games. Like I said, betting against the Z teams with Arizona and Carolina. I mean, Carolina can't win a game. New England. No, I give New England a little credit because Zappi's playing. So with Zappi playing, I could maybe go, and I can see why the over went from 39 to 41. Because San Diego, neither team really got a strong defense, even though it's Bill Belichick. Not this year, no defense. I don't think Vince Lombardi was ever coach of a Z team. How can Bill Belichick, the greatest coach that ever lived, be a Z team? That's not a good coach. That means this coach sucks. A Z team. Shake my head. Anyway, keep your eye on watch these scams. Buy your gold, buy your silver as much as you can, as quick as you can. You can see it going. You can see the buyers are coming in and the shorts are not dropping it to 2071 now. Pretty soon you're not going to see 2000 anymore. Then you're going to see it's going to flip 2100, 2200. And hopefully we get to physical and not this inflated gold price that's such bullshit. Whom is calling for the professor? Daria went to sleep. Our friend Kenzie. So keep your eye on it. We know it's about to go. This Russian war is over, and it's just a matter of, so Putin probably will say, fuck it, if nobody wants to shake my hand, I'll just claim whatever I want in the Ukraine, and off he goes. Zelensky's out of his mind. He's kidnapping kids and men to throw them in the military. I've never seen anything like it. It's a fucking joke. Thoughts on today's game? I can get Washington and Liberty. My thought is that I like Liberty over. New Mexico State's got a good quarterback. Liberty scores a lot. I'm not sure I like Liberty minus. The game's at Liberty, but I'm not sure. Mexico State beat Auburn, and I'm not going to ignore that. And I know how good New Mexico State is this year. I think it'll be a competitive game. Washington in 15.5, I've never thought about. I think Oregon is playing so much better. They got the running back, and they got the defense, and they still have Bo Nix. And I think they're going to just, the way they've been playing, I think it might be 41-7 or something. I don't know. I honestly like the under in the game because I think that over-under, it's like the Michigan one, 66. I go under 72 with this defense, and Washington isn't scoring. I love that. And then the Michigan game, the over's too low, 34. I go, fuck Michigan. Get that in 28, over 28, and Michigan's going to score 30 on Ohio State. How the hell is that and make any sense? So kind of like that. I kind of like Michigan to blow them out anyway. So I'm kind of in that, but I don't know that I would fuck with Oregon. So I would kind of reverse it to Liberty over and then Oregon either under or Oregon lay the 3.5. I don't know that Washington, the game's in Vegas, which is really weird, but I don't know that Washington, the team I just saw against Oregon State and Washington State, I couldn't handle Oregon. And Oregon, so I don't know. I'd be very careful with Washington in 15.5. We'll be playing the Army-Navy game under unless it's like 28, like the Iowa scores. I got, I got some Saturday games under, like the Florida State game. I mean, where are you going to get points without Travis? So the key is watch if the quarterback's not playing, then that. But Army's not even playing this week if you're thinking of that. Army-Navy's next week. But not necessarily. They were changing their offense, but it's where it makes sense. Army-Navy's an under. Army Air Force is an under. We did play that under. Army Air Force, Navy Air Force, because they know each other's offense so well, they know how to defend it, and it's just option play, and they know how to get in the gaps, and they know how to kill it. So yeah, those are Army-Navy is a good under. It's 28.5, the Army game next week. I'd go under 34.5 before it drops to 24, 25. If you can bet it, I'd bet it under. Neither team scores Look at the Army Air Force game, was 23-3. Army actually won. But I mean, they got to 26. Navy's getting shut out half the time. I just don't see you're getting in. It's a big game, so they start choking and they start running, and the defenses are good, and you just don't see a high scoring Army because they don't throw the ball, they run the ball. Army was trying to open it up this year, but they really never did. They brought in a good offensive coordinator, but the problem is you got to have a quarterback, and you got to get the system in place, and it's got to be there for a while to just start throwing. Look at Notre Dame. You have Hartman. They should have scored 50 points a game with Hartman. So it was very disappointing that they lost 3 games the way they lost them with Hartman. I mean, you'll be kidding me. Well, that's why I bet the opener. Where are you seeing this? Because it's not till next week. But yeah, if you see, as soon as you see the 30, just jump on it. That's why I bet these games early. I had my picks out on, I think, Monday. And then I added the pros is a little different. I'm waiting on injuries. Miami, Philadelphia. A lot of questionables. So I'll probably put those out tomorrow, but we'll see. If you want, I got a special $200 the rest of the year. College this week, the bowls, the playoffs, and all the pros. Very affordable. So then you get all my locks and everything. Here you hear my plays, kind of, but you don't know which ones are my locks. I got to have some fun. So that's what we got. Keep in mind, this Russian war is over. The fat lady hasn't sung yet, but she's warming up. Russia's 73-0, and they're just taking a knee. Well, I mean, if you got those, and they're going to give you those lines that early, go bet them. You can't get hurt on an Army-Navy under, because if the quarterback finds out to be hurt, that only helps you. So yeah, go enjoy, bet them. So keep in mind, then you get this Israeli war. What the fuck is that all about? I don't understand it. It's a money issue, but what's the money? What's the point? What's at the Gaza Strip? Is it oil, gold? I mean, I don't know. It's always about gold and oil. There's never been a war that has not been about gold and oil in the history of all the wars. So anyway, that all leads to inflation, which leads to higher gold prices, and the dollars are all worthless. So keep in mind, your dollar is worthless. We're all on the lifeboats already because this is worthless. This is not worth $1. This is about what it's worth, a penny. But you just don't know it because you see 100 on it and you think it's worth 100. It's not. It's worth $2. And it's worth 2 cents, basically. One thing I noticed today, I'm at my store buying my meat, and they had a lot of sales, so I went just for the sales. And I'm like buying 6 pounds of hamburger, $3.99 a pound, and some chicken and stuff. And that's what I'm going to cook. That's also my way out of my cash. I'll just buy all this at cheap, and then my freezer's full. I'll just take that out, and I won't go to the grocery store just for veggies. And I noticed Pepsi was $1.09 a 2-liter from $2.99. So I go to the kid stocking the shelves, and I go, "Oh, you can't sell your Pepsi, huh?" That's why the price is down, because they can't sell it, right? If I can't sell this for $100, I got to lower the price because I don't have a market for it. I've got to find my market. So I got to sell it at the price that people will pay for it. So Pepsi's sitting there going from $2.99 to $1.99. They dropped $1 because nobody's buying it. I mean, we're used to paying 99 cents, maybe $1.59 for a 2-liter. Now it's $1.99. It went down. It went up to $2.99, and nobody. And now part of it also is the holidays. As we get into Christmas and the Christmas parties, they're like, all right, we can make a lot of money because now the demand for the Pepsi will go up. So smart move doing it now, but it's because they can't sell it at $2.99. There's no market that high, so sales are down. That's why you got to be careful buying stocks. You're out of your mind if you think GM or Ford, their stocks are going to go to zero. Their companies are going to go out of business. They can't sell a car at these prices. My Toyota, I bought a Camry in 2018, and it was $470 a month at like 2% interest. Now the price went from 24 grand to 35 grand, and the thing went from 470 to 990 is your payment at 10% or 9%. Yeah, well, good luck selling that. Who has money to buy it? So this is the problem. So why do you want to be in stocks? At what point do you think the stocks are going to go up when they can't make sales because they're too expensive? Your sales, when they're cheaper, they make more sales. When they're expensive, they get less sales, which means less profit because they still have the fixed costs. They still have the warehouse, the plants, the machinery and equipment. It's all there that they have. That doesn't go away, the fixed costs. So they're fucked because they still got to pay those. You still got to pay $10 million for the machine that makes the Coke. But if I can't sell the items, I'm fucked. And that's where they are, or the cars, right? You get these big plants. You can't sell the cars. What are you going to do? Bye-bye. So what's the stock going to do? Going to go up? How can it go up? Nobody's buying. It's too expensive. I only have so much money. We don't have printing presses in the backyard. I always tease Carmen with that. I always told her, I don't have a printing press. I can't just produce money for you. If I run out, there's no good fairy who's going to give me money like I give you money. So be careful with it. Yeah, your dollar's worth. Why do you think you got to buy gold and silver? And that's how you present it to your friends and family is, if you hold this, and that's why I use the Titanic, something they can understand. If you hold this is already worth a penny now. It's worth nothing. But gold can only go up because you can't inflate gold. You can't print gold and make the supply higher and make the price come down. You can't do it. You can only do it with paper. But that's not real gold. That's paper. That's derivatives. It's bullshit. That's not the real price of gold. The real price of gold is the physical gold that they can't print. They can't inflate. So therefore, the price is way too low. Not because of the money going down, because they are inflating the gold supply in paper, but not in physical. So there is no physical price of gold, but it's 100 times higher than the paper price. So that's what you know. That's why you buy the physical. There's no risk. So why you even have any dollars? Like I said, I just have a very small dollars to pay the bills with. But outside of that, I'm in gold and silver. That's it. And then my baseball cards, which I need to get them graded, but I don't know. I'll do that later in life. They think I'm crazy, and you too, they said. Well, have them come on. Have them talk. Tell me why. Okay, I'm crazy. Why am I crazy? What is it that you know that you think that I don't know? And I'll challenge you. I'll challenge anybody to that conversation because I got a master's in it and they don't, because nobody's got masters in Austrian economics. But as I'm explaining, it makes perfect sense. Hey, Alex. Yeah, I like all that. Yeah, Oregon under, maybe New Mexico State over, but I definitely like that. I think it'll be a game. Liberty scores a lot, so maybe that one goes over also. Free play is Georgia and the Denver Broncos. So look into that. Eric says he's got a line on the over-under on Army at 20, what is it, 28 and a half. It was 30. So you might want to start betting that one under. But yeah, I think Oregon, the way Oregon's playing, the way Washington's playing, I think Oregon, I don't see a problem for them. Washington just doesn't look good. 21 points on Washington State, and Arizona put up 44 on them. Yeah, and I really, it's the Oregon defense, it's the Georgia defense that I like, and the fact that Auburn ran through Alabama and Georgia's runs 10 times better than Auburn does. So I think that's the difference. So I'm really betting the defenses as usual, but yeah, I like those plays, and I took Oregon under basically at 66. I'm 72, and I'm going, there's no fucking way this game's going to 72. Even the first game only went to 69, which should never, but it would never happen now. The way Washington looks, they'll be lucky to get 14 on them. They're like the worst undefeated team I've ever seen the last 3 or 4 weeks. Anyway, good luck on that, Alex. So yeah, so Greg and John bring okay. I can understand you think I'm crazy. So you ask them, do you understand there's paper gold and physical gold? And hear their response. And when they don't know that there is paper gold, and they'll think the real price of gold, the physical price of gold is the paper price, and they don't realize there's two different things, then you've got them right there. You got them by the balls and say, hey, you don't even know there's a paper gold and a physical gold. That's the first thing that nobody understands. They just think this is the supply-demand price, is the paper derivative, inflated price for gold that's lower. And, but the dollar's zero. The dollar's in trouble because they do inflate it and the debt and the whole world. So that's it. How do you pay stuff with gold? They said. Well, everything will be priced in gold. We answered. See, they can't comprehend the thing. What you'll do is the prices will be in gold. They won't be in dollars because there won't be a dollar to price it in. Like I said, your house is worth $500,000, and then the dollar goes out. Your house is worth nothing because you can't price things in dollars because there won't be dollars. So then you start pricing things in gold and silver. But so let's say I need money. I go to the coin store with my ounce of gold. They give me $2,100, and now I got money. And I take it to the bank and I use it on my debit card or pay my bill. That's all you do. So, that's really the whole key to it is if you need money, you can go to the coin store with the gold or silver. The guy will give you the spot rate in a heartbeat. And he's happy to get it because he's going to sell it 10 minutes later. So that's what you do. But see, with that answer, they don't even understand it. That's not the right question. What do I do with gold? You go sell it. Ask them, what do you do if you had a Picasso? Do you think you could eat if you had a Picasso or a Van Gogh? I got a Van Gogh on the wall right there. Now, it's not real, but let's say it was real and it was worth $20 million. I'd be happy to have it, and it would be totally I wouldn't think about how do I spend it, and you sell it. Just like what do you do with your house? So you got a $400,000 house. Ask them, what do they do with their house? They need money. They take out a loan or they sell it. But because it's worth 400 grand, you're not throwing it away. You got value to it. So No, only in my school do they teach it. This is not taught because they don't want you to learn it. They don't want you to understand how they're fucking everybody over. So therefore, because they don't want you to know what's really happening, they don't teach it. I learned it in the 90s. Best teacher, great teacher, just could explain very, very, very nicely. And Bobby Bo, what are you doing in the ER, by the way? And so good news, this ought to cheer you up. Gold's at 2071. They said I got COVID. Tell them that no, and you're not taking a fucking shot for it, okay? I don't want to hear you taking the vaccine, and then you're going to be all in big problems. You got COVID again? Like, what do you get it every week? I wasn't going to say, but Daria had COVID, and she took some pills, and here, this is what she took. She shows me these pills. Well, I'll do it this way. This is what they gave Daria in Russia. She gets COVID. They say, take this. Maybe a week later, now she's fine. She's back at work. She went out walking today. So that's what they told her to take. That's probably Paxlovid. So did you see the gold today, Bobby Bo? I showed it. $20.72, Bobby Bo. $20.72, up another $32. And your silver's finally moving, $25.47. That ought to perk you up. That ought to cure your COVID right there. I'm surprised you went to the hospital for that. I would have just stayed home, taken a tub, and slept and turned on a ball game. You got the Oregon game tonight, Bobby Bo. You can enjoy that one. No LSU. This sucks this week. There's no LSU for you. Doctor said just to avoid phenomena cause bad pain their rib area could be lung. I showed you, didn't I? See the silver was 25 something, 25.47. So silver was 21.22, and then now it's 25, but gold's up to 20.72. Again, this is paper derivative bullshit, but I don't think we've seen 20.72 before. Wait till it takes off. It's gonna go bye-bye, 3,500, 5,000, 10,000, bye-bye. And all these people are going to kill themselves for selling it at 2,000 because they don't understand. I'm a peel out of here and go grab my kangaroos. Sounds good, Bobby Bo. Have a nice day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be here, 10 o'clock for big noon, high noon, whatever you want to call it. But you can't listen with sound to Maserati, Joel Klatt, and the two idiots. It's hard enough. I'm glad I don't get that pro football, and I got to listen to Herb Kirkstreet. Oh my God, that guy makes me throw up. It's going, Bobby Bo. Don't worry. It goes right with gold. Gold goes, silver goes. Gold's gone. Again, once this hits 35.40, then it's 50, 75, 100. So buy it now. I haven't listened to Mark McGuire today. I got to listen to him. Shouldn't have a guest on, and he'll be ring fencing the casino, whatever the fuck that means. About to walk over to the nurse and say, keep those meds because silver's up. Yeah, you don't need the meds when silver's up and gold's up. Gold hits 5,000, silver hits 1,000. You don't need a med. You'll be eating steaks and having a good old time. The Canadian Club. No, I can't open the Canadian Club, but that would be a time to hit the Canadian Club when it hits 10,000. Did Mark McGuire come out? He probably, but I haven't watched it. I ran to the bank and then to the swim and then stopped at the grocery store to get meat on sale and had some lunch, and then I'm here. And I'm about to go, 5:30. So, we got football tonight and then our games tomorrow and then the pros Sunday and Monday. Free pick Georgia over Alabama and Denver getting 9.5 from Houston. Thank you, God. Wow. Really, they're making Russell Wilson the dog. I don't know. I think I'm going to bet a lot on Mahomes this week, Bubby Bo. I got that. I'm getting that feel of Kansas City. They have to win because they got to catch Baltimore, and Denver's on their heels. So if Denver beats Houston, look for Kansas City big over Green Bay. Well, not big, but big enough. So I say we're at the stage where we've already hit the iceberg. Me and Bobby are in the boat a long time ago because we figured out, you know what? Boats hitting icebergs probably isn't a good thing. The boat's probably not going to stay in the water too long. So we're already on the lifeboat. And then with our gold and silver. And now I got a feeling the customers are like, there's water in the boat. We might sink, even though it's unsinkable. We might, because it's just like gold, right? Oh, the Titanic, it's unsinkable. Yeah, gold. Oh, the dollar can never go away. Oh, what are you saying? How could that happen? So we're at the point where I think all the people on the boat are starting to see the water around their ankles going, yeah, we might be in trouble. And we're waiting for that frenzy, which we're starting to see. Gold goes over 2,100, gets to 2,200. You're going to start seeing the frenzy that we've been waiting for. And silver, it'll break 27, then it breaks 30. And it's the bye-bye blues. It's Earl Campbell on a 90-yard run. You ain't going to catch him. And he ain't coming back. So you've really got to like 2 weeks at the most. It's Christmas time. And then look out. Here we go. Make an omelet too and check out the Oregon one. Well, the Oregon Washington game's on at 8 o'clock. It's 5:30. But an omelet sounds good. I got my hamburger to cook. And I got salad. That's what I'm eating. I'm eating real healthy. This is celery. So I got a whole bowl of celery. I dip it in my French dressing. But it's really healthy for you, even though it doesn't fill you up. It takes like the whole bowl to fill you up. But I didn't eat. I didn't eat last night for a change, and then I've been eating at night because I've been like missing dinner, right? So I finally had dinner. So I didn't eat dinner I had dinner normal, and then I didn't eat after. I didn't eat till 1:30, so I feel a lot better. And I'll probably have dinner 5:30 soon. Anyway, I guess that's it. Good luck on the games. Oregon, Washington should be a beaut. Texas, Oak State should be a beaut. LSU or Florida State and Louisville. And Michigan's going to beat the shit out of Iowa. And App State, watch that App State game and the Troy game. Those should be, I think it's Troy App State. And Troy App State, that's going to be a good game. App State, they can score. They got a really good quarterback. So does Troy. But I think App State is better. So look for look for them. And then the SMU game, remember, Preston Stone, the quarterback, SMU's out. 2 strong defenses and no quarterbacks lead to an under. So that's what you got. So it should be good. And off we go. I think that's about it. So have a good night. www.teaserking.com. Again, I'm running a special $200 for both college and pro through the Super Bowl. 100 if you want this week and the bowls in the college. So if you just want the college, $100 buys you through their playoff. 200, you just add the pros to it, or any way you like it. So we will see. So it should be good. We got to buy more gold. That's the key. All right, everybody. Have a good day and feel better, Bobby Bo. You keep getting COVID, huh? All right. Well, I see you eating too much sugar. Stop the alcohol and the sugar and all that stuff. Although I am noticing a lot of people in masks for some reason. I kind of, it's like, why are you wearing masks? Like you think they're going to do anything. So anyway, have a good night. www.teaserking.com. If you want the special, $200 buys you everything for the year, all the locks, pro and college, all the bowls, NFL playoffs, and that's it. So Merry Christmas coming up. We need gold. We got to get that. And that's about it. So have a good evening. See you about 10 o'clock because we got big noon, but maybe not 10, maybe 10:30 because really, yeah, I got big noon, but there's only 10 games tomorrow, not the whole 95 that I have to go through. And we'll look at the pros again tomorrow. Again, we're really looking at the injuries on some of these, and they're mostly questionable, like Tyreek Hill, is he playing? Well, if he is, then we'll take Miami. If he's not, I ain't trusting Tagliabue. Okay, everybody, have a good night. Enjoy. Be good. Get better, Bobby Bo.